When corporate deal makers are considering an investment in a politically sensitive country, a country where they perceive that there's some risk of nationalization or extreme government intrusion, what are the 2 or 3 things the deal makers should be most focused on?
Well, it's a good question. I think anytime you go into a country, you want to try to understand as best you can the sanctity of contract that's going to exist in that country. So if in fact you feel that there is a risk that your contract is not going to be upheld, then you're going to insist on having a higher return. There's higher risk, you've got to have a higher return.
Right.
And that's the risk to countries, is that they're not going to get the amount of investment because there will be other countries. For example, today Colombia is a very favored destination because it's perceived as being lower risk, and their terms are better, and they don't have to offer quite as much as you would if you were in a country that's politically riskier. So people are going to examine that, and should. People are always going to worry about security-related issues. In most of the emerging markets that you go into, that's one of the things people are always going to stop and think about, is what's happening in this country. Political risk is not just to your contract, but it's also to your operations.
Right.
Right? And so if you have operations going on and there's a risk that you're going to have a civil war or any kind of strife that's going to occur, you're going to worry about your people. And what are you going to do? How are you going to get them out? Everybody's going to have contingency planning. They very likely either have very substantial political risk assessment departments, basically, within their companies, or they will contract with folks for that purpose. So very important. Everybody's worried about their people. Often you will find that companies are going to be reluctant to put expatriates into countries where they perceive there to be a tremendous amount of political risk. That was the case early on, for example, in Iraq, where there were just very few expatriates that went into
the perception being that the expatriates are at particular risk.
Yes, that's exactly right. And they're perceived as being targets for kidnapping because there may be some ransom monies, you know, on and on and on. Whereas those who are nationals of that country, they know the system, they don't stand out as much, and they're better able to deal with themselves on a personal basis. So those are critical. Anytime there's political risk as well, it puts a question as to whether you're going to be able to acquire the goods and services that you need to be able to drill or conduct operations, whatever it may be. And that will drive up the cost of those things because you'll have a smaller market, smaller supply. Therefore, any amount of demand is going to push the cost up.